Hello, everybody, wherever you may be. Here is your solar weather update for the HF bands for Sunday, November 20th through Tuesday, November the 22nd. First, your A1A, and this shows another sunspot region coming right around 10 o'clock there from the east limb of the sun. This is good news. We need some more sunspots to bring the SFI up, and we should see some of that this week. I'd say by Wednesday. This is basically the return of the sunspots that came from CQ Worldwide, the ones that survived on the other side of the sun. Right here, in just a little sliver on the east limb, you can see just a little bit past the part of the sun that we see here on Earth. That area just to the left of that crescent is what we don't see on Earth. So that squared area is that sunspot region right around 10 o'clock that'll be coming in by tomorrow, should be named by tomorrow, and hopefully that's going to be enough to help repopulate our SFI, get it stronger as we lose 3150. You can see there on the far right upper side there on the west limb going off of the sun. That should stop impacting our SFIs most likely by Tuesday, because we're seeing a little skewed version also of the front of the sun there. Magnetosphere view. This is if we took all the brightness of the sun away and just focused on the sunspots and the regions that they're at. Here is 4 days ago, and you can kind of see how the sunspots revolve around the sun till we get to today. And you can see 3147. That's been an active region there on the southern hemisphere of the sun, kind of near the sun's equator, but that's been really good for our SFIs the past few days, so they don't go lower into the 100s, into the single 100 digits. It's been good. Coronal hole map, 46 hasn't really given us any problem. Neither has 47. Good solar wind right now, and we should have good conditions, and I think lower noise floors than was forecasted earlier by some folks here. We'll see how that goes out. 3 days of solar flare detection. A little bit of a downturn here in our radiation from the sun. You could see that we had an M flare yesterday, and that M flare will not have any CME effect towards Earth. So we won't have any sort of Earth-facing component from that CME, but good. That's a good thing, and we need to have more of those to try and juice up our SFI. Currently, the D layer, look at this. It's quiet today, and the D layer, not too much energy in that D layer. So people that want to work 40 meters, you might get some good DX out of 40 during the day today. You can see it's just attenuating to right about 5 megahertz right now. So excellent conditions on 40 meters daytime right now. Current SFI is down 1 from yesterday at 115. Sunspot number, the smooth sunspot number is at 59. That's up 4. And the area number is up just a little bit to 440. That's up 30 from yesterday. KP indexes, this is where I kind of disagree with what forecast models are showing. KP1, and this is really like a KP 0.4 or 0.3 the last time they showed this here on solarham.net. The actual condition currently KP1 according to Space Weather Live. So this is great noise floors, really low noise floors for you to work the lower bands tonight. So you won't be fighting a whole lot of static crashes, and not only static crash, but a whole lot of just atmospheric noise. That's what's going to quiet down for you tonight. So some good DX for you. 3 days of geomagnetic forecast. This shows a G1 storm today and tomorrow, quieting down to a KP4 by Tuesday. I don't know if we're going to get this. I just don't see it happening. I think right now, based on the solar metrics we have and where they were expected to be today, I think we get quieter conditions from that. So I think this KP1 is a real good indicator that we'll have at least quiet conditions, maybe up to an S3 by Tuesday, but still not bad as they could be if it was a G1 storm. Interplanetary magnetic field. This is how the planets impact the Van Allen radiation belts here on Earth. Currently pointed north, 10.01. So that's really good. We've got no problem from the interplanetary field. The solar radiation coming from the sun, the BZ latitude hitting the Van Allen radiation belt, currently at 6.22 pointed north. This is great conditions, and it looks like our QSB is going to be limited today on the band. So if you're on 20 or 15, 10, 12, whatever, shouldn't have a whole lot of QSB today. Should be pretty reasonable conditions. QRZ today, SFI 115, sunspot number 62. A index is 5. That's good. We want that number to be below 10. The K index is 1, which is excellent. That corresponds down to the fourth line from the bottom, geomag field. Very quiet. That's great conditions for us today. EME for moon bouncers is fair today. HF conditions, you can see them there. We will outdo that. There's no question about it. We definitely will get 12 and 10. in most areas of the world. Let's take a quick look at that. Current Kilo Charlie 2 Golf map. These are live MUF, so this is where they're at right now. And I think the one way up in Sweden at 29 megahertz is that's a false number. It's not going to be that high up there. Let's start out and take a look at how the bands are so tightly wrapped here in North America from the 10-meter band all the way up to the 20-meter band. You can see how tightly round they are up in Canada. And Canadians, you're going to get 10 meters. I think as far south as probably about 60 degrees today. We'll take a good look. Here is the Northern Hemisphere MUFs. Currently, Alaska, 7 megahertz in Fairbanks, 11 if you're in Anchorage. Southern California already at 10 in the morning here, Pacific time, 29 megahertz, 29 as well if you're in the Boise, Idaho, or in the Wyoming area, 28 Denver, 32 Brownsville, Texas, 33 Pensacola, 26, however, just outside the 10-meter band in Washington, D.C., 27 New England, but I think that number is really flirting with 10 meters. It's really close to 28, and I think we're going to be right on the 10-meter band for the most part here in the States within about an hour. And I think into Canada, most likely right around the noon hour, you're going to start seeing 10 meters really brighten up within the middle provinces of Canada. So some good conditions are here as well. Take a look towards Europe, 15 megahertz in Great Britain, 14 France, 22 Portugal, 13 in Spain, 14 in Great Britain, 12 Germany, 13 in Greece, 13 as well in the southern part of, Jerusalem. And as you head in here to the southern hemisphere, look at most of it 10 meters, except you see in the area in northern Africa where you have 25 megahertz, and then you start seeing all of those megahertz, all those bands gets really tight between Europe and North Africa. So in that area, it's anywhere from about the 20-meter band up to about the 10-meter band right there in North Africa. And as you head south, most of Africa, 10 meters, even in Cape Town right now, going into darkness, 23 megahertz. Now, daytime, totally different. 10 meters is really great in the southern hemisphere, and you can really see it in South America. 29 North Brazil, 41 in Sao Paulo, 39 as well as you head south into South America. Just a little bit of the 25 megahertz band, so the 12-meter band, right in the top, the north part, I'd say, of South America. But for the most part, 10 meters for sure in the southern hemisphere today. Far East, let's take a look there. Japan, about 12 megahertz. But look at Australia. Darwin, 22 as they get ready for morning, the daylight to come. 15 Townsville, 16 Brisbane. If you're down in Sydney, about 11 megahertz. Tasmania is at 9. Perth on the 20-meter band. Look at that, 14 megahertz. If you're going into, say, for example, New Zealand right now, we'll zoom this out a little bit. Look how close the bands are there in the bottom right corner. Right now, just shy of the 17-meter band in the northern part of New Zealand, Northern Ireland, then 21 and the 25 megahertz band, and then all of a sudden, 10 meters is wide open there. So within the next hour, hour and a half or so, both the North and South Islands of New Zealand should be on the 10-meter band. Some great conditions to work north to south in North America, down to Australia, down to South America, and for South America to work the world as well. And then tomorrow, same thing for Europe to work Africa, South America, heading down towards Australia. Some good conditions for you and decent noise floors as well. Your ham and shortwave forecast for today, powered by ICOM. ICOM for the love of ham radio. SFIs to stay between 110 and 120 through Tuesday. I think they're going to be pretty stable. I don't see any major dips or huge increases. I think we're going to be pretty stable on our solar flux index. Noise floors, I'm going to go against the grain here with what we're seeing in data because the data is showing lower noise floors than what's forecast. Noise floors S0 to S1 today, possibly up to an S2, S3 through Monday or Tuesday. I should say Tuesday. So S2, S3, maybe we hit that by Tuesday. But for the most part, I think we're going to average about an S1, maybe an S2, which is great conditions. Now, the voice bands in the Northern Hemisphere is a little bit of a wild card. You should get 20 meters, 17, 15, and the 12-meter band. You'll get 10 if you're south of 60 degrees north today. Equatorial latitudes, 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10 for voice bands. Same with the Southern Hemisphere, 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10. I believe it goes all the way down to Tasmania today. CB radio skip, Northern Hemisphere open today, also open in the mid and south latitudes. Your data modes, great day to work data modes. You want to work FT8, FT4, It's that real rare prefix. It's a great day to work data modes, 30 to 10 meters in north, mid, and the southern latitudes. Tonight on your amateur radio bands, noise floors S0 to S1 tonight. It's a great night to work your radio. Tomorrow, maybe S1 to S2 and possibly S2 to S3, but I really think that's not going to happen. I think we're probably going to maybe max out at about an S2 by Tuesday. We'll see what happens. Nighttime amateur radio bands 160, 160, 80, 60, 40, 30. And remember, great DX is on your maximum usable frequency at sunset, then go down to your lower bands to reach 40 and 80 meters overnight. Shortwave listeners, our shortwave daytime bands, good SFI, S0 to S3, maybe, I think more like S2 noise floors through Tuesday. Shortwave band openings daytime 31, 25, 22, 19, and 15. We haven't said anything. I'm sorry, 15. The 13 meter band as well. So I'm going to add that in here because I haven't had 15 and I haven't had 13 ever in there. And you know what? There are some broadcasters on those frequencies. So 31, 25, 22, 19, 15, and the 13 meter band should have some good conditions for you. Nighttime shortwave noise floors S0 to S1 tonight, maybe rising tomorrow, could be up to an S2 or so. I just think if it's an S3, it's going to be for a real short time. Your shortwave openings tonight, 120, 90, 75, and 60, 49, 41, 31, 25, 22, and the 19 meter band open in the southern hemisphere about 2 hours or so after sunset, and your signals will fade away. It's a good day to work your amateur radio. Not as high of SFIs as we've had recently, but still some great conditions to work your ham or shortwave radio. I'll try and come in with a ham radio live show today. It's just I'm waiting for my brother's medical provider to call and let me know what time he needs to go in for his treatment today. Thank you for being patient with me, wherever you may be. Thanks for watching this weather segment. God bless you, and thanks for being part of Ham Radio Live. Goodbye, everybody.